I don't want to go back to America, but you need to do something for us.
This sounds like threatening.
Is divorce in the cards?
It depends on him. I am at my breaking point, and Sumit needs to stand up and do something.
Jenny did not scream when she saw the woman. That was the scariest part. She did not throw anything. She did not cry in front of everyone. She did not beg Sumit to explain. She just stood there, frozen, staring at the young woman standing beside her husband. The same husband she had crossed the world for, the same husband she had forgiven again and again, the same husband she had defended when everyone told her she was making the biggest mistake of her life. And now, in the middle of India, inside the home where Jenny had tried so hard to belong, Sumit looked at her and said the one sentence she never thought she would hear. "Jenny, please try to understand." But Jenny already understood. She understood the silence. She understood his guilt. She understood the look in his parents' eyes. And most painfully, she understood that this woman was not just a guest. She was not just a family friend. She was the future Sumit's family had chosen for him. And in that moment, Jenny realized something that broke her more than betrayal ever could. After all these years, after all her sacrifices, after everything she gave up for love, she was still being treated like someone temporary. So the question is, did Sumit really choose another woman over Jenny? Or did Jenny finally choose herself after years of waiting for Sumit to become the man he promised he would be? Because this time, Jenny was not just leaving a house, she was leaving India. And Sumit may have realized the truth too late. Jenny and Sumit's love story was never normal. It was messy, emotional, controversial, and painful from the beginning. Jenny was an American woman who believed she had found real love online. Sumit was a man from India who made her feel seen, loved, and wanted. But from the very start, their relationship was surrounded by secrets. Sumit did not begin their connection with full honesty. He hid behind a fake identity. And when Jenny discovered the truth, most people would have walked away right there. But Jenny did not. She stayed. Because love has a strange way of making people ignore red flags until they turn into burning buildings. Jenny believed that behind Sumit's lies, there was still a real person who loved her. And for a while, it seemed like maybe she was right. But then came the age gap. Then came the cultural pressure. Then came Sumit's family. Then came the shocking truth that Sumit had been married before. Every time Jenny thought the relationship had survived its biggest test, a new secret came out. But Jenny kept choosing Sumit. She left America. She came to India. She stood in front of his family. She accepted a life that was completely different from the one she had known. She waited for him when he could not marry her. She forgave him when he broke her trust. And eventually, after years of struggle, Jenny and Sumit got married. For Jenny, that marriage was not just a wedding. It was proof. Proof that all the pain had meant something. Proof that Sumit had finally chosen her. Proof that love had won. But in our fictional story, that victory did not last forever, because sometimes the people around a relationship never really accept it. They only wait for the perfect moment to break it. And for Sumit's family, that moment came when they realized Jenny was not leaving. Part 1. Jenny's life in India begins to feel different. At first, Jenny tried to convince herself that everything was fine. She had done that before. She had survived the staring, the judgment, the family arguments, the uncomfortable dinners, and the cold silence from people who never truly saw her as Sumit's wife. But this time, something felt different. It was not loud. It was not obvious. It was small. Sumit started taking phone calls outside the room. His mother stopped arguing with Jenny so much. His father became strangely polite, and Sumit, the man who used to fight to spend every minute with Jenny, suddenly seemed distracted. Jenny noticed everything. She noticed how Sumit smiled at his phone, then quickly locked it when she walked in. She noticed how he avoided her eyes when she asked where he had been. She noticed how his parents whispered in the kitchen, then stopped the moment she entered. One night, Jenny was sitting on the bed, folding clothes, when Sumit's phone lit up on the table. A woman's name appeared on the screen. Annika. Jenny stared at the name for a few seconds. She did not touch the phone. She did not answer it. But when Sumit walked into the room and saw the screen, his face changed. Not fear, not surprise. Guilt. Jenny knew that face. She had seen it before. She saw it when Sumit confessed he had hidden his real identity. She saw it when the truth about his arranged marriage came out. She saw it every time he had something to tell her, but was too afraid to say it. Jenny looked at him and asked, "Who is Annika?" Sumit picked up the phone too quickly. "Just someone my family knows." Jenny's voice became calm, and when Jenny became calm, Sumit knew it was worse than anger. "She calls you at night?" Sumit looked away. "It is not like that." Jenny slowly stood up. "Then tell me what it is like." Sumit opened his mouth, but no words came out. And that silence told Jenny more than any confession could. The next morning, Jenny woke up before Sumit. She walked toward the kitchen and stopped when she heard voices. Sumit's mother was speaking quietly, but Jenny could still hear her. "She is good for you. She is young. She understands our culture. She can give this family a future." Jenny froze. Then she heard Sumit's father. "You have already wasted too many years fighting for something that will never be accepted." Jenny's heart started pounding. She knew they were talking about her. Then Sumit's mother said the sentence that made Jenny step back from the door. "Annika is the right wife for you." Wife. That word hit Jenny like a slap. Not girlfriend, not friend, not option. Wife. Jenny walked back to the bedroom before anyone saw her. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. For years, she had been told she was too old for Sumit, too foreign, too different, too much trouble, too impossible. But she had always believed that none of that mattered because Sumit had chosen her. Now she was not so sure. Because it is one thing for a family to dislike a marriage. It is another thing for them to quietly build a replacement. And the most painful part was not that Sumit's family wanted Annika. The painful part was that Sumit had not told Jenny. He had let her live in the same house, smile at the same people, and believe she still had a place there, while everyone else was planning a future without her. That evening, Jenny confronted him. "Your mother thinks Annika should be your wife." Sumit's face went pale. Jenny nodded slowly. "So it's true." Sumit said, "Jenny, please listen." "No, I have listened for years. I listened when you lied about who you were. I listened when you told me about your first marriage. I listened when your parents disrespected me. I listened every time you said, 'Give me time.'" Her voice broke. "How much more time do you need to decide whether I am your wife?" Sumit looked destroyed, but Jenny was past the point of being moved by his sadness. Sadness without courage was useless. The next day, the doorbell rang. Jenny was sitting in the living room. Sumit's mother opened the door. A young Indian woman walked in, dressed simply, respectfully, almost nervously. She was not arrogant. She was not cruel. And somehow that made it worse. Jenny could not hate her. Annika looked uncomfortable, like she had been pushed into a story she did not fully understand. Sumit walked in behind her. Jenny stood up. The room went quiet. Sumit's mother smiled in a way Jenny had never seen before. Warm, proud, almost victorious. Jenny looked at the woman, then at Sumit. "Who is she?" Sumit swallowed. "Jenny, this is Annika." Jenny waited. Sumit did not continue, so Jenny asked the real question. "Why is she here?" Annika looked down. Sumit's father spoke first. "She came with her family last week. We have known them for a long time." Jenny's eyes stayed on Sumit. "I am asking my husband." That word changed the room. Husband. For Jenny, it was a reminder. For Sumit's parents, it was an inconvenience. For Sumit, it was guilt. Sumit finally said, "My family wanted us to meet." Jenny laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. "You're already married." Nobody answered, and that silence was the loudest thing in the room. Jenny turned to Annika. "Did they tell you about me?" Annika looked at Sumit, then back at Jenny. "Yes." Jenny's eyes filled with tears, but she refused to let them fall. "And did they tell you I am his wife?" Annika whispered. "Yes." Jenny nodded. Then she turned to Sumit. "You let her come here knowing I would be here?" Sumit stepped forward. "I did not want to hurt you." Jenny looked at him like she finally saw him clearly. No, Sumit, you did not want to look like the bad guy. That sentence cut through him, because it was true. Sumit had always wanted love without consequences. He wanted Jenny. He wanted his parents. He wanted freedom. He wanted approval. He wanted to be brave, but only when bravery did not cost him anything. And Jenny was finally tired of paying the price for his weakness. That night, Jenny packed a small bag. Sumit stood in the doorway watching her. For once, he did not know how to stop her. Jenny, please don't do this. Jenny folded a shirt and placed it inside the suitcase. Don't do what? React to what you did? I did not marry her. Jenny stopped. She turned slowly. Not yet? Sumit closed his eyes. That was the wrong answer. Jenny whispered, Oh my God. Sumit quickly said, No, that is not what I mean. Jenny stepped closer. Then say it clearly. Did you plan to marry her? Sumit's voice cracked. My family wanted me to consider it. And did you? Silence. There it was again. That terrible silence. Jenny stepped back as if he had physically pushed her. You considered it. Sumit said, I was confused. Jenny laughed through her tears. Confused? I moved across the world for you. I gave up my home for you. I fought your family for you. I forgave you for things most women would never forgive. And after all that, you were confused? Sumit looked down. They kept saying I needed a normal life. Jenny's face changed. A normal life. Those words hurt more than anything else, because Jenny knew exactly what that meant. A younger wife, an Indian wife, a wife his family could show proudly, a wife who would not make neighbors whisper, a wife who fit into the story they wanted for him. Jenny said, So what was I? Your abnormal life? Sumit shook his head. No, you are my love. Jenny answered immediately. Love without loyalty is just a word. Sumit started crying. But Jenny did not soften this time. She had softened too many times before, and every time she softened, Sumit learned that he could hurt her and still keep her. Not tonight. Jenny sat on the bed, surrounded by half-packed clothes, old photos, and years of memories. She picked up a picture from their wedding day. In the photo, she was smiling. Not just smiling, glowing. She remembered that day clearly. She remembered feeling like she had finally won. Like every insult, every secret, every lonely night had led to that one moment. But now, holding that photo, she realized something painful. A wedding does not mean someone has chosen you forever. Sometimes it only means they chose you that day. Jenny looked at Sumit and said, I stayed because I believed you would protect us. Sumit whispered, I tried. No, Jenny said. You delayed, you avoided, you hid, but you did not protect us. Sumit had no answer. Jenny continued, Your family did not destroy this marriage. You let them stand close enough to do it. That line broke him, because Sumit could argue with anger. He could defend himself against accusations, but he could not fight the truth. Jenny closed the suitcase. The sound of the zipper felt final. Sumit stepped forward. Where will you go? Jenny looked around the room she had tried to turn into a home, the room where she had waited for him, the room where she had cried quietly so his family would not hear. The airport, she said. Sumit shook his head. No, please, we can fix this. Jenny looked at him with tired eyes. Sumit, I have spent years fixing things I did not break. And that was the moment Jenny stopped being the woman begging to be chosen. She became the woman walking away. The taxi arrived early in the morning. India was still waking up. The streets were quiet. The sky was gray. The air felt heavy. Jenny walked out with her suitcase. Sumit followed her. His parents stood behind him, saying nothing. For once, nobody tried to stop Jenny. Maybe because they never believed she would leave. Maybe because they wanted her to. Or maybe because deep down, everyone knew she deserved better than another round of promises. Sumit grabbed the handle of her suitcase. Please don't go. Jenny looked at his hand, then at his face. You cannot hold my suitcase when you could not hold our marriage together. Sumit let go. He started crying. I love you. Jenny nodded. I know. That made it worse. Because this was not a story where love disappeared. Love was still there, but love had become exhausted. Love had been stretched too thin. Love had been asked to survive too many lies, too many delays, too many family meetings, too many apologies. Jenny said, I did not leave America because I wanted an easy life. I came here because I believed in you. Sumit whispered, then believe in me one more time. Jenny shook her head. I do. I believe you love me. I believe you regret this. I believe you never wanted to hurt me. She paused. But I also believe you will hurt me again if staying with me means disappointing them. Sumit had no answer. Jenny opened the taxi door. Before getting in, she looked back at the house one last time. Then she said the line that would stay with Sumit forever. I came to India for love. I am leaving India for myself. And then she got into the taxi. Sumit ran after it for a few steps, but he stopped. Because deep down, he knew this was not a moment he could chase. This was a moment he had created. After Jenny left, the house felt different. Quiet, not peaceful, empty. Sumit walked into the bedroom and saw the spaces she had left behind. Her side of the closet was open. Her cup was still on the table. One of her scarves was hanging on a chair. For years, Sumit had thought the hardest thing was fighting for Jenny. Now he realized the hardest thing was living without her. His mother entered the room. You did the right thing, she said. Sumit looked at her. But for the first time, her approval did not feel comforting. It felt cold. He asked, then why does it feel like I lost everything? His mother did not answer. Because there are some victories that only look like victories from the outside. Later that day, Annika came to speak with him. She stood at the doorway, nervous but honest. I cannot do this, she said. Sumit looked confused. What do you mean? Annika said. I was told you were ready to move on, but you are not moving on. You are grieving your wife. Sumit looked away. Annika continued, I do not want to be someone's replacement. That sentence hit him hard. Because Jenny had felt the same thing. Temporary. Replaceable. Second choice. Annika turned to leave, then stopped. She loved you enough to fight everyone. You should have loved her enough to not make her fight alone. And then Annika walked away too. Now Sumit had exactly what he thought he wanted. No Jenny. No conflict. No pressure from two sides. And somehow, he had never felt more trapped. At the airport, Jenny sat alone near the boarding gate. Her phone kept lighting up. Sumit, Sumit, Sumit. Missed call after missed call. Then a message appeared. Please don't leave. I made a mistake. Jenny stared at the screen. Her fingers hovered over the phone. For a moment, she almost answered. Because Jenny loved him. That was the problem. She still loved him. Leaving someone is easy when love is gone. Leaving when love is still alive is a different kind of pain. It feels like tearing your own heart out because your mind finally knows what your heart refuses to accept. Another message came. I choose you. Jenny closed her eyes. Those words would have meant everything years ago. They would have meant everything before Annika came into the house. Before the family meetings, before the silence, before Sumit considered a future where Jenny was not in it. Jenny typed a response, then deleted it, typed again, deleted it again. Finally, she wrote only one sentence. You chose too late. She sent it. Then she turned off her phone. When her flight was called, Jenny stood up slowly. She looked back once, even though Sumit was not there. Maybe part of her still hoped he would run through the airport like some movie scene. But real life is not always that generous. Sometimes nobody arrives at the last second. Sometimes the apology comes after the damage. Sometimes the person who broke your heart only becomes brave after you stop waiting. Jenny picked up her bag and walked toward the gate. And with every step, she was not just leaving India. She was leaving the version of herself who kept hoping Sumit would finally protect her. In this fictional ending, the most painful part is not Annika. Annika is not the villain. She is just another person caught inside a family's plan. The real tragedy is Sumit's indecision. Because Sumit's love for Jenny was real. But real love is not enough if it cannot stand up when it matters. Jenny did not need Sumit to be perfect. She had already forgiven his mistakes. She had already accepted his complicated past. She had already stood through more judgment than most people could handle. What Jenny needed was simple. She needed to know that when the world questioned her place in Sumit's life, Sumit would not question it too. But he did. Even for a moment, he allowed another woman to be considered for the role Jenny had already earned. And that was enough. Because betrayal is not always a secret marriage. Sometimes betrayal is a conversation you hide. Sometimes betrayal is a silence you allow. Sometimes betrayal is making your partner feel replaceable while still saying, "I love you." Jenny's decision to leave India is not weakness. It is not defeat. It is not her giving up on love. It is her finally understanding that love should not require her to abandon herself. For years, Jenny fought to be accepted by Sumit's family, but by the end, she realized she did not need their acceptance. She needed her own, and that is why her goodbye hurt so much. Because Jenny is not walking away because she stopped loving Sumit. She is walking away because she finally loves herself enough to stop being hurt by him. So, if this fictional twist ever happened, Jenny leaving India would not just be the end of a relationship. It would be the end of a dream she had carried for years, a dream where love could beat family pressure, a dream where sacrifice would be rewarded, a dream where Sumit would finally choose her without hesitation. But dreams can become prisons when only one person is fighting to keep them alive, and Jenny had fought long enough. In the end, Sumit may have realized that Jenny was never the problem. The age gap was not the problem. The culture clash was not the problem. Even his family was not the whole problem. The real problem was that Sumit wanted Jenny to stay while he continued to hesitate. And Jenny finally decided that her life was worth more than waiting. She came to India for love, but she left India with self-respect. And sometimes that is the strongest ending a woman can have. Comment below, if this fictional story happened, should Jenny forgive Sumit one last time, or should she leave India forever?